Welcome to All Things Keto. I am your host, Dr. Pete, and my co-host Tanner, or T-Bone, is not here today,
Hi everyone, talk to you soon.
but T-Bone will be with us next time. Today's topic on All Things Keto addresses eating net carbs versus total carbs and why eating net carbs is a bad idea relative to food cravings. The number one reason why people fail in the ketogenic lifestyle, in the keto lifestyle, is because of food cravings and the lack of mutual support in the lifestyle. The purpose of today's presentation is to offer you the reasons why this issue is so prevalent. The first thing that you need to understand is that when you are eating the standard American diet, this diet has in it a majority of carbohydrates and sugars. When you eat carbohydrate and sugars, this lights up a portion of your brain that is also lit up by drugs, alcohol, opioids, and so on. Now, I am not suggesting to you that eating a meal of pasta is the same thing as injecting heroin. I'm not making that argument, obviously. But the effect of the carbohydrates on your brain are more subtle. And when you consider the fact that you're eating a high carbohydrate diet upwards of decades, the effect is that you build up substantial food cravings over decades of eating this way. So when you shift to a ketogenic diet, the keto lifestyle, one of the first things that we impress upon you is that we are eating whole foods, number one, right? We're not eating processed foods. We stay out of the aisles in the supermarket where all of the box stuff is. Now, the reason why I'm with you today is because what happened recently, because I am a health coach and because I'm publishing a lot on Facebook, these ads started to appear on my feed for Keto Cereal, right? So what's going on out there in the world at this point is that there's a lot of food manufacturers that are trying to move into the keto space. Remember, rule number one in our lifestyle is to eat whole food. That's, you go to the vegetable aisle, right? And you're buying, green peppers, for example, you're buying zucchini, you're buying things like that. You're cutting it up and actually cooking the food. We're not shopping in the aisles. We're not buying processed food. But I'm getting these advertisements for the one that we're going to focus on today is Keto Cereal. And I posted right away, don't eat this. If you eat this, you're not going to stay in ketosis. You're going to gain weight. If you happen to be trying to reverse diabetes, well, you're going to do the anti-reversal. You're not going to reverse the condition eating that type of food. And the question is why? So I reposted this and I made the statement, don't eat this, and I got some pushback. So what we're going to do now is we're going to analyze why we don't eat that stuff. So we're going to leave my screen and we're going to go to a photograph of one such type. Okay, so this is the back label from one of the cereals that has been showing up on my news feed. It's a keto product, and in fact, this is the one that I got the pushback on. So the first thing I want to point out, and you should be doing this in your keto lifestyle anyway, and that's turning around the package of anything that you're buying, and you're looking at two things. You're looking at the nutrition label, and you're also looking at the ingredients list. So I want to draw your attention first to the ingredients list. All right, this is a boxed product that is being sold as a keto safe product. Look at what is in this, right? This is processed food at its finest, and it's being marketed to people who are in the keto lifestyle. And the argument is we don't have enough different things to eat. And I hear it. I hear you, because in the beginning of the lifestyle, when you're first getting the hang of eating only whole food and eating whole food that is low in carbohydrate, I mean, this is hard, and it seems like for breakfast that the only thing that is available are eggs. And one of the things that my co-founder Tanner and I are trying to do is to get our stuff together and publish more ideas in regard to things that you can eat for breakfast that don't involve eggs. But I want to get back to the point. So the other factor involved in this is that people go, well, Pete, we're just going to count the net carbs here because look at all the fiber that's in this. And the medical establishment and the mainstream tries to tell you that you're not going to digest any of this. Well, this turns out to be, this narrative is actually false. We do digest some of the fiber. The problem is we don't know how much of the fiber that we're digesting, but we do digest some of it. And those of us in the know that are trying to help people be successful in this lifestyle know better. You don't want to eat this based on the idea of the fiber. You want to count the total carbs because whatever amount of fiber you are digesting, this is going to affect your blood glucose, which is going to affect the insulin expression, which is the thing that you're trying to downregulate, and it's going to cause you problems. So the total carbs in this is 12 grams. Even if you want to go with the net, which I'm telling you you want to avoid, that means you got 5 grams of this material. Now shifting our focus over here to the nutrition label. There's 5 grams literally of sugars and carbs that are involved in eating this. And they're telling you that a serving size is 3/8 of a cup. Well, who even knows what 3/8 is, right? Just to be blatantly black and white about it, that's a little bit less than a half a cup. Now, you think about growing up in whatever household you grew up in, and even now I've watched adults in my extended family eating cereal for breakfast. Who eats less than a half a cup, for God's sakes? They pile this stuff on. They're eating at least a cup of cereal. So number one, the serving size here has deliberately been reduced. You're eating probably 5 to 15 grams of carbs if we go the net route. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to do that with meat because I already know that you're going to get a blood glucose spike shortly after this meal that is a lot higher than anyone thinks. Okay, let's go shift back to the right quickly and talk about some of the ingredients here that I think have not been shown in the nutrition label. Take the tapioca, for example. This is high in carbohydrate, and it's going to generate a blood glucose spike. Next, the sunflower oil. What's wrong with this stuff? It's polyunsaturated fat. This stuff is composed of an oil mixture, which is easily oxidizable. It breaks down in cooking, for example, and it's easily oxidizable in our bodies. It's not something that you want to actually been eating. It's not something you want to actually eat. We want to focus on oils that are natural saturated oils or natural monounsaturated oils. So that is a bad thing that's actually in this product. And then we have the monk fruit. Well, I would challenge any of my listeners to look that up on the internet. Monk fruit is not purified material. It has to be extracted for something. There's always going to be things that come along for the ride with that. One of them is dextrose, which is another name for glucose, and it's not even mentioned in this label. So we don't know, just because there's monk fruit here, what is also coming along for the ride with it. And then lastly, most of the monk fruit that I can find on the internet that's used to make processed foods like this are also combined with erythritol. The thing that you want to remember about the monk fruit and the erythritol, and this is one of the most important parts of this presentation, is that this sweetness that's provided by this material lights up the same sensors, activates the same sensors in your tongue, which goes to the same sensory organ within your brain that is normally lit up, as I mentioned prior, by drugs, alcohol, and other types of stimulants, for example. So all you're doing by eating something like this is basically reinforcing the food cravings, the very food cravings that are working against you in this lifestyle. The best thing that you can do, number one, because this is processed food, is not eat it. The second best thing that you can do, which is equal to the first one, is to avoid it because of the sugar sensory effect on your brain. You're just prolonging the food cravings that you're trying to lose. So on the ketogenic lifestyle, it's super important not to eat things like this. Stick to the whole foods. To summarize, you can boil down the reason for not eating these keto packaged foods into two things. One, the sweetness that comes along with them, and I don't care which of these sweeteners that they're putting in the food, whether it's monk fruit or erythritol or any of the other sugar alcohols or any of the other business. By eating that, all you're doing is reinforcing the food cravings that you have that you desperately need to stop, right? You need those food cravings to stop if you're going to be successful with this lifestyle. And the way that you do that is by eating whole food that are low in carbohydrates and developing new cravings, which are going to be directed at protein and the natural fats that you've now elevated into the diet, right? We're elevating the fats, we're keeping the protein moderate, and we're lowering the carbs down to 50 grams or less a day in general. I hope this clarifies Ketonic Revolution's viewpoint about eating these processed keto foods that are now starting to flood the market. In order to keep the video reasonably short, I left out a lot of things. I really felt pressed just to get done what we talked about. So I hope you understand what the situation is with them. If you have more questions, you can send them to ketonicrevolution@gmail.com. Remember that we offer, because especially in honor of COVID-19 right now and the fact that so many people are out of work and everything, we offer group keto sessions right now on Sundays. And you're more than welcome to email me again at ketonicrevolution@gmail.com and request an invite. It's free. There's no strings attached or anything like that. We're not going to try to sell you anything. We get everybody in a virtual room and we talk about what the problems are. And I offer solutions. If all you want is to put your head against the shoulder, we're going to do it remotely. T-Bone is there, so we have the women's perspective too on the whole thing. In any case, these happen every Sunday at 10 a.m. Arizona time. Email ketonicrevolution@gmail.com. Thank you for your patience and watching the presentation, and we'll see you again soon.